Welcome back. So some breaking news here on this Monday afternoon, and I mentioned it in the Sunday video that, there was the possibility that this news was going to be released before the PRI show. Of course, I did credit the Chaz for that information, and the Chaz ended up being correct. Donny Schatz' news for 2026 has officially been released, and releasing that information is, of course, Jeremy Elliott at SprintCarUnlimited.com. So this story this is not me breaking the news. Jeremy Elliott is the one that had this story, and so want to give him all the credit where the credit is due, of course. But I wanted to talk about it here on the channel because this is some pretty big news. Of course, if you do not know, we'll catch you up to speed real quick. Donny Schatz, midway through this year after the Knoxville Nationals, being let go from Tony Stewart Racing after an 18-year partnership and several championships and Knoxville Nationals titles. Everything you could want for, they had it. Things went south after the Nationals. They split ways, and Schatz used about 4 other cars to get to the rest of the Outlaw season. Never won a race in 2025, the worst season of his career. But now we found out here tonight that he will drive for CJB Motorsports in 2026, and it will be on the World of Outlaws Tour. And this is kind of a surprise. I don't think that, I had heard maybe a long time ago. I remember Justin Fiedler mentioned that he'd heard something about Donny Schatz to CJB. That was like 4 or 5 months ago. And when he said that, I was like, I have not heard anything about that. There's no way that's a real thing. And 4 or 5 months later, here we are. Donny Schatz is driving next year for CJB in the number 15. Of course, why wouldn't it be the 15? That is the number that we all know him by. So, as I mentioned, he will be running the Outlaws, which is a little weird because CJB also has a car that is in the High Roller Club with High Limit Racing. And so that means they'll have a car on each tour for next year. And the other big news that came out of this press release was that Barry Jackson will be the crew chief of the car. Now, Barry Jackson, last year at the High Limit Racing Banquet, had announced his retirement, and of course, that did not happen. He went the entire year this season with Brenham Crouch on the High Limit Tour as the crew chief, and now he is going to be the crew chief for Donny Schatz for all 86 races next year with the World of Outlaws. As I mentioned, CJB will still be fielding a car for Brenham Crouch, so this will be a 2-car team. And I was thinking back in my mind, I was trying to remember if CJB has been a 2-car team. For some reason, I want to say yes, but then I was looking on my computer, could not find any results for sure that at least when they did not run a 2-car team on the Outlaw Tour, I don't think. When Shane Stewart was in the 5, I think he was the only guy driving it. When Paul McMahon drove the 51, I think he was the only guy in the CJB car. And when Gravel was in the 5 as well, I don't remember them having a second car out there. Maybe somebody in the comment section can correct me on that. But I do not recall them having a 2-car team on a national tour. And of course, they're going to be on both national tours next year, the 5 and the 15. In a press release from FI Motorsports and Tyler Altmaier, the sponsors of the car were not mentioned in the press release. So we do not know exactly who the sponsors will be on the car. I mean, you could probably assume you're going to see some of the same sponsors that are on Brenham Crouch's car, some of the same sponsors that were on the CJB car for years, with Gravel, with Spencer Baston, with Shane Stewart, those guys that drove those cars. They've had, the same sponsors for a very long time. You'll have to imagine that a lot of those guys will be on Donny's car. And I would have to think Donny's got to be bringing a sponsor along with him because he's freaking Donny Schatz and people want to be involved with his racing. If he doesn't bring 2 or 3 new sponsors to this car, I will honestly be shocked. There was a lot of people calling him during this offseason, I'm sure, trying to help him out, get another Outlaw seat going. According to Jeremy Elliott on his SprintCarUnlimited.com live show on YouTube, this was put together very, very quickly. This is something that's happened within the last week that they were able to put this together. And, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, putting together something like this to do an 86 race schedule with a team that already has another car on the racetrack running full time, and to put it together within a week span definitely is pretty crazy in this day and age of this sport. But Jeremy Elliott is the one that obviously broke this news, and he has been talking to guys like Chad Clemens, guys like Donny Schatz, the guys that are really involved with this whole thing. And so it was put together here very, very recently. Now, another question that could be answered here is who is now going to be the crew chief for Brenham Crouch, because Barry Jackson is leaving and going over to the Donny Schatz side of this team. My guess, and this was not put in any press releases, but my guess is it's going to be Austin Winrick, who has been on Brenham Crouch's car for a few years now. When he won that IRA Sprint Car Championship a few years ago, Winrick was the crew chief for Crouch. He was with CJB this year in a car chief role, and now I would have to guess that CJB will promote him to the second crew chief of Crouch's car. I have not heard if that is correct or not, but that is my guess because Winrick and Crouch do have a pretty good relationship. They've ran for a long time together. And so if that doesn't happen, I would honestly be pretty surprised. And like I said earlier, this is the first time we've seen a team where they have one car on the Outlaw Tour and one car on the High Limit Tour. We have not seen that happen with any other team that has happened. Actually, we have had that. So scratch that line off. Shark Racing did it in 2024, of course, with Jacob Allen and Logan Schuchart. So scratch that line off. I just remember that off the top of my head as I'm recording this. So this will be the second time that we've seen a team have a car on both tours. First, it was Shark with Jacob Allen and Logan Schuchart. And for 2026, it'll be CJB with Donny Schatz and Brenham Crouch. So that's kind of cool there. But what are your expectations in the comment section? What do you think is going to happen with this team? Do you think they get a top 5 in Outlaw points? Do you think they get a win? Do you think they get 5 wins, 7 wins? What do you think can happen with this? I really, really like this because I think CJB has some really good equipment. Of course, Barry Jackson is an extremely experienced crew chief with dozens and dozens of World of Outlaws wins under his belt. Donny Schatz, I don't need to tell you about all of his accomplishments. This could be a very, very potent combination for 2026, and I am very excited to see this happen. Get another car, another high-end car on the racetrack competing at the top level of sprint car racing. That is only good thing. That's only a good thing, right? You want to have more top-end cars on the track, and with this announcement, that is indeed the case. The other thing I will say here, and I did comment this on Jeremy Elliott's live show, I am just happy to see this entire announcement stay quiet. I mean, I had no idea. I feel like I'm pretty well in the know of things that are going on in the background, announcements that are coming, drivers that are going to this ride or drivers that are going to this series. I literally had no idea that this was happening. And, the Chaz had mentioned on his show like 4 or 5 days ago, and this whole time I've been kind of thinking, well, what could it be? Trying to think of different scenarios of things that could happen. And this was not one of them. So it's just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of a relief, I guess. It just feels good that this was something that, wasn't talked about for months at a time before it happened. It was quiet all the way up until the news was released at 8 o'clock here tonight. So I thought that was really cool. I hope that we see that more often. It kind of takes the fun out of things when everybody knows everything about a certain thing before it happens, like 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 months in advance. And so it was just it kind of felt good that, this was something we did not know was happening until it was finally unveiled. So once again, all credit going to Jeremy Elliott. I did want to read a quote coming in here from the FI Motorsports press release from Chad Clemens, the owner of the team. These are exciting times at CJB Motorsports. Donny Schatz is one of the best to ever sit in a sprint car. To have him join the CJB Motorsports family is incredibly special. He is not only a talented and accomplished driver, but he brings a wealth of knowledge and experience. We have a lot of work to do, but we'll be ready for 2026, and we'll see everyone in Florida. And then also from Donny Schatz, a quote from him: truly grateful for this opportunity. Chad and Marie, the entire Clemens family, Barry Jackson, and everyone else at CJB Motorsports have been working their tails off in putting this program together, and we're excited to get started. The World of Outlaws is where I cut my teeth. It's where I belong. I'm as confident as I've ever been heading into 2026, and I know we'll have the tools, knowledge, and experience to be successful. And you hear it right there from the man himself. That is a pretty powerful quote. I am excited to see what these guys will do for 2026. Good luck to Donny Schatz and CJB Motorsports on the Outlaw Tour next year. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon on the Rodman Rundown.